Hello, welcome to Sonic Lab, and today we're looking at the Akai APC Mini, which is the latest in the line of Ableton Live dedicated controllers. Akai released the first APC, the APC 40, back in 2009, and it was the first of its kind really. It was the first dedicated physical clip launcher for Ableton Live, fairly quickly followed by Novation's Launchpad. But the APC set a standard, if you will. It can trigger clips from Ableton's scene view. If we just look at the screen, we can see Ableton Live has our tracks in the session view running horizontally, and then vertically we've got the scenes, and that's represented on the clip grid here. Now the APC Mini, this rather compact unit here, is a bus-powered multi-LED clip launcher with 9 faders and a bunch of multifunction buttons. We'll explain what those do in a moment, but if we just have a look here, buttons along the side here can launch scenes. So if I trigger a scene, and then I can easily just sort of choose elements to play in a non-linear fashion, which I'm sure many of you will be familiar with this way of working. And what's nice about the APC Mini is that all of the functionality that you need for that is pretty quick available to you. Now, in order to do that, you do have to double up the function of these buttons. So let's just have a little look around what these actually do. So running down the side here, we've got these which launch the scenes, but if we hold down Shift, they change the functionality of the buttons along the bottom here. So that's clip stop, solo, record arm, mute, and track select. So holding Shift, we just simply choose the function like so. Now along the bottom, we've got a different set of controls. So the function of them is based on what we say here, but also holding down Shift, pressing these buttons can set what the faders do. So the faders can be set to adjust the volume, pan, send, and device. The send one is a little bit different in that multiple presses of the send will go through the different sends that you've got set up. So on this particular project, I've got 2 sends, but you can't see what the send is without actually wiggling it. So a little bit of a drawback. The other buttons along here now are the navigation buttons, and for those to make sense, we'll have to look at the screen again. We can see that there's a green square, an outline, which is currently looped around all my clips. Now if I hold down Shift, I can move that square around. This facilitates being able to have much bigger projects than just 8 by 8. And as you can see, holding down Shift, we can just slide that around, which I think is a nifty way of navigating. And the good thing is as well, if we look on the controller, if I have run out of options now, I can't move up anymore, the LED vanishes, so you can realize that you've reached the end of the travel. So if I go down a little bit, we see the blank clips appear. Go up, well, I can't go anymore, and the clip light's gone. Neat. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to explain then is the device control. That's quite nice, because what the device control lets you do is it lets you adjust the parameters of different Ableton Live devices. But there's one caveat here, that in order to get to the device, if I choose device, I have to then hold down and select to get to the select functions, select which track I want, and now I'm ready to start adjusting. So, you know, it's a little bit, oh, button press, etc. But that's okay, because at least you can do it directly from the unit, which is nice, without having to go and use the mouse. So with my device selected, then as I move these around, I can start to pick up the functions, and I can tweak and record these different device movements, whatever they may be. Okay, so that covers pretty much all the functions on it. There's not really any secret functions that I can find on it, so everything pretty much is clear. You can just get up and running with it straight away. And I should mention something that I was very impressed with. When I plugged this in, it just worked straight away. I didn't even have to go into the settings. I didn't have to configure anything. I just literally plugged it in, plug and play, and it just worked. That's because the API that the APC is using is built in to Ableton Live. So that's really, really nice. So no drivers and no configuration needed. So that's a big plus. So something that's really worth mentioning is that the APC Mini is very affordable. I mean, in fact, I would even call it a bargain. You can pick it up street for around £74, $99, and which is really great for something of this functionality, but especially when you consider the software bundle that comes with it. There's a copy of Ableton Live Lite, which may be expected. Also, you get like a producer pack, loads of loops and various things. But the real star of the show is it comes bundled with the full Hybrid 3 synthesizer. Now, that was only released in April 2014, and if you went to buy that, it's $149. So if you do want to buy Hybrid 3, you may as well buy the APC Mini. You'd get the software, you get the APC Mini for free, and it would cost you $50 less. So a bit of a no-brainer there, really. Let's have a look at Hybrid 3, though. It's a very fully featured synthesizer. It has 3 oscillators, and there's 2 separate layers, so you can get very complex sounds. So let's just have a little listen to some patches on that. So you can hear from those patches that there's a lot of these kind of gated sequences, arpeggiated patterns, and of course it's all fully editable as well, and there's an enormous library that it comes with as well. So, big thumbs up to Akai for including, it's not a cut down or a light version, it's the full piece of software. So if we look at the faders on this, we'll notice that they're actually very low profile. If I tilt this to the camera, you can see that they're almost flush to the body. They only raise up ever so slightly. Now, the advantage of that is that you could be chucking it in your laptop bag, and I would very much doubt that they would break off. So that's quite nice. But what I find is that the actual travel of them, considering it's such a short range, they feel really nice. It feels like you can do quite accurate work on them. Of course, it's a little bit odd if you change it to pan, that the pan is moving on the vertical, but again, it keeps it nice and neat, nice and compact, and the fact that you can adjust things like sends and pans is great. It means that as a performance tool, there's a lot of ground covered. I would say that if you've got an iPad or even an iPhone, the Touchable would make a brilliant accompanying device to go along. Touchable's a wonderful app. We've covered that in our Sonic Touch show. For anything that the APC doesn't do, Touchable could do. So I could imagine those two together being quite a formidable pair. One thing you might have noticed though, and maybe this is to do with the price point, is that these are tri-coloured LEDs only. They will not colour to show the different colours of your clips. Like, I know that the new APC 40 Mark II will do that. The Ableton Live push device does that as well. These just simply have 3 colours. So there's this yellow colour to indicate that there's track data. They will go green during playback, and they will also light up red if those clips are in record. So apart from the listed features which are printed, screen printed on, one thing you can do is worth mentioning. If you enable the MIDI map mode on the software like so, then, and so long as our MIDI ports are selected to remote, which it had actually done by default anyway, I can select any function on here. Let's just say, for instance, this track, turn this track on and off. So now when I push the button here, it's turning the track on and off. And no matter what I set these things to do, like let's just have them set solos. Other tracks are going into solo, but this track is still toggling on and off. So it overrides the functionality once you put those MIDI commands in. I should mention that this is only a tri-coloured LED unit. Now that's probably a lot to do with the price point, but what I mean by that is that the LEDs only exist in 3 colours, which are yellow to indicate that there are clips. If I start at green to show tracks which are playing, and they'll light up red if they're in if the clips are recording. So they don't display the colours. You can see on the project the colours are, it's a multicoloured project. That's not represented on the grid, sadly, but I think at the price point, I think that's maybe to be expected. So the APC Mini, it's available now at a street price of around £74, as we mentioned, $99 thereabouts, and together with that software package, Hybrid 3, etc., excellent bargain. It is, though, however, fairly limited in that it is a clip launcher. The pads, they're not velocity sensitive. If you did want more facilities, then you might want to look at its bigger brother, the APC 40 Mark II. That does have a bunch of extra things, including multicoloured LEDs and various other controls. But I think for the money, though, it does represent a very, very nice, good unit. It's well made, it's low profile, the LEDs are nice and bright, and I think overall it's an excellent product. So that's all from me, Gaz Williams, Sonic Lab. See you next time.